So thank you, Jameer, Director of the Programming Board. Uh, Good evening, LACC. Hi, everybody. I want to thank Associated Student Government, our advisors, and as well as the Programming Board and the Communications Department who helped co-sponsor this event. So I just want to shout everybody out. As a black child growing up, my mother would force me to read books on black historical figures like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Sojourner Truth, among others. But as a 7-year-old in the early 90s, knowing your older siblings are in the next room playing Super Mario Brothers, it kind of makes it a little difficult to want to learn about anybody or anything for that matter. Nevertheless, I read and slightly began to understand the impact that these powerful individuals made. But it wasn't until I was a teenager that it hit me. Not only do these individuals need to be celebrated, they need to be learned from as well. Now, I'm not going to give you a history lesson, but I want to share a few things, and those things are why I believe Black History Month is important and why it's imperative that members of the Black community maintain high self-confidence, high self-esteem, and high levels of self-respect. So first off, why do I believe Black History Month is important? Well, it is well known that Black History Month is celebrated for people of color who have made vital contributions to the country. But we must point out the brutal setbacks and odds that were against our Black revolutionaries. Regardless, those setbacks and odds did not stop them from achieving the impossible. And when I say revolutionaries, I'm talking about our activists, our scientists, our creators, our inventors, our dreamers, and our believers. Let us not forget that there was a time when blacks were enslaved. And during that time of enslavement, many blacks were not permitted to learn how to read or write the language that was being spoken in front of them. Not to mention this was after our original languages were robbed from us. So I'm sure we can understand how this could hinder someone from reaching the same levels of success as someone who was on the opposite side of the unpermitted. Then after the right to read and write was granted to blacks, there was a time when many blacks were not allowed to drink out of certain water fountains or use certain restrooms, eat in certain restaurants, maybe sit at the front of the bus. My father was one of them. Not allowed to attend certain schools, but most importantly, not allowed to vote. And I'm sure we can see the unfair playing field under all of these circumstances. But despite those obstacles and setbacks, the contributions of those who had to face and overcome these setbacks has still helped in making this country become the amazing country that it is today. So I believe Black History Month is important because not only does it shine light on the contributions made by these individuals, but it also gives us the opportunity to point out the trials and tribulations they had to endure while making those contributions, which shows perseverance, persistence, dedication, strength, and faith, which leads me to my next point. Why it's imperative that members of the Black community should maintain high self-confidence, high self-esteem, and high levels of self-respect. So to achieve anything, you have to develop the ability to believe in yourself, no matter who you are, no matter your circumstances. But to be specific, for the Black community, I ask that we remember our history. The generations that have come before us, whether they knew it or not, we're setting an example for the next generation, which in turn set an example for the next generation, all the way up into us. So I feel like it's only right that we pay it forward by doing the same thing, setting an example for the next generation. We should not let doubt lead the world to missing out on monumental changes because of skin color. So again, I want to say, I ask that we remember our history. I want to go as far as to humbly ask that some of us go out and maybe learn our history. Something I'm doing. So I'll point out, remember that being Black during the slavery days did not stop Harriet Tubman from conducting the Underground Railroad for 8 years without losing one person. Being Black during the 50s and 60s did not stop Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. from sharing and exercising one of the biggest dreams that this world possibly has ever seen. Being Black didn't stop Oprah Winfrey from becoming one of the wealthiest people in the United States and one of the most influential people in the world. And when the odds were against this man, being black, sure enough did not stop Barack Hussein Obama from becoming one of the most venerated presidents in the history of the United States for 2 terms. So these accomplishments, they didn't only change a few people's lives, they didn't only change America, but it changed the course of history around the world. And these are just a few reasons why members of the black community should maintain these self-respecting characteristics. So in a nutshell, I share with y'all why I believe Black History Month is important and why it's imperative that members of the black community maintain high self-confidence, high self-esteem, and high levels of self-respect. So before I go, I want to point out that every single ethnicity has gone through some trials and tribulations. And despite those obstacles, every ethnicity has still managed to make major, vital, and absolute amazing contributions, not only to this country, but to the world. And this is one of the main things that makes diversity important. But we mustn't forget the contributions made by my ancestors in conjunction with the pain they had to endure, as well as the time delay that it took for us to be treated as equals, which in some parts of the country is something we're still working on. So, in conclusion, no matter your ethnicity, and I'm gonna repeat this, no matter your ethnicity, everyone must be appreciated, everyone. Why is that? Because we are all equal. I think it's sometimes something that some people forget. I'm this color, so I should our race is stronger, or our race is smarter, or, doesn't matter. We're all equal. But this month is Black History Month, and it shines light on black resilience, which was attempted to be contained, but couldn't be stopped. So happy Black History Month.